States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Has council had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes from May 3rd? If so, how do you wish to proceed?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from May 3rd.
Second. Motion from Rick, second from Robin. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Any changes to this evening's agenda? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the set agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion from Rick, second from, or Robin, second from Becky. So many R's and B's.
I can see how you can confuse the two.
All those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Guest and open forum. Seeing no one approaching for guest and open forum, we'll move on to committee reports. Personnel met on May 6th. Majority of what we discussed is in our packet for this evening. We discussed FLSA for the exempt status of a couple of our workers. The personnel policy, chapter 17, which is with tuition reimbursement for career advancement. That's in our packet. And then also a job title change for our street park operation. It was street park operation lead, and we changed it to a supervisor because the lead sounded more like they were on the street just leading a project versus actually leading individuals of an organization. So they went to a supervisor status. So all of those are for tonight. How about EDA?
EDA, we met on May 9th. That was Marie's last EDA meeting, so it was just kind of getting caught up on a lot of projects, and we didn't meet in April, so we were just getting caught up.
I forgot mine are the.
A lot of projects, and you know, probably the only thing to note in the housing update, 73 properties in all of Sherburne County is what's available for sale. So that's not very many. So when you look around and you say, well, there's not anybody trying to buy a house, that explains why. So we didn't have an update on the city as far as this last month here, but as far as for properties.
Sure.
So yeah.
How about Public Works? Do you want me to do it?
Yes, go ahead, please.
All right, so Public Works, we met on May 10th, and we discussed, again, a lot of things that are on this evening's agenda or on our work agenda for this evening's exec session. Grass and weed ordinance enforcement, that will happen on the second Tuesday of every month, May through October. So on the second Tuesday, Public Works staff will go through town and identify lots that are within the weed notice or weed ordinance area. They'll go ahead and send the notice process, and then they'll go through that. But the second Tuesday of each month is the date that the staff will go and look specifically for that. We also discussed boulevards that have rocks. We have actually 70 residents that have boulevards with just rocks in there. There are a bunch of our residents that have rocks in their boulevard, but it's questionable if it's rocks or weeds, or, you know, overgrown grass. So I believe that's on this evening's exec session to discuss as well, like how we wish to proceed. But Public Works did kind of take a first round of that. In the wastewater treatment area, an LPI came off of a 10-day shutdown. Our staff did a great job on preserving our bug's life. When LPI came back on board, there was obviously a higher discharge, and our bugs responded quite well. There were no permit violations during that time, so commend staff for a job well done. And then they also did industrial sewer line jetting and found that on Central Avenue, there was a lot of trees with their roots overgrown into some of the pipe systems. So more to come on that. They're going to review the video and kind of take a deeper dive look at that video to distinguish any damage. So more to come on that. How about Fire Board?
Fire Board, we met last night. We took a donation from the Lions of $5,000, so that was great for equipment. Probably the biggest thing we learned is there is going to be 5 openings here for firefighters. So if you know anybody or you're interested, they're going to have some informational meetings on Tuesday night, the 7th of June, and then Saturday morning, the 11th. So, yeah.
Were there 5 people quitting or retiring, or is it gonna be like additional?
Additional, and then I think there was one that left.
Yeah, we haven't filled since last year, so
Right.
we've just been reserving spots as the people retire. Like, remember, like Tony Knudsen retired, and then Kurt Hennon, so there were several firefighters, and we just have not backfilled.
So I think the informational meeting will be good. 2 different times, so.
Yeah, they're encouraging families to attend as well, you know, because a firefighter, it's not just their job, but their family also takes on, you know, some of the,
Is that being advertised somehow?
just during social media or through social media. You may have seen it. I think I saw it up on a couple posts as well, so.
I mean, I'm not looking, but I'm just thinking for people.
You're not looking.
You're not
I would
gonna,
be
Yeah,
I would be one of the ones retiring. Or retired.
All right, how about Park and Rec?
Park and Rec met last night. We covered quite a bit. The bathrooms and the concessions are operational over at the BAC. And Liberty Papers donated $2,500 for a new drinking fountain over there. We have some parkland dedication money available, and we're looking to put up a shade structure and provide some picnic tables over at Carl E. Johnson Park. The BCC Green Space is going to get a sign that reads Community Park and acknowledge all the donors who contributed to that project. The project outside the water splash pad. Yeah, all of that. Parking at Colbinger Park is going to have signage that there'll be no parking other than for park use. They're seeing a lot of baseball, and
Yeah, definitely.
there was a lot last night there
Evidently,
too.
somebody had rented it just recently, and they couldn't get into the park because the parking lot was full from people parking and going over to the school.
Have we notified who, there's a huge attraction, I think it's usually some sort of a baseball or a softball.
Yeah, they got ball going all the
Have
time.
they been notified of the change
Josh
that's
is
been
gonna take care
happening?
of that,
Okay.
or Josh, or somebody.
The rec room at the community center is almost done. Game install is scheduled for next week, and then it should be pretty much ready to go. And the BCC will have some landscape updates starting. And the BCC has better than pre-pandemic membership numbers. So
And
seeing
also,
some
there'll be a
recovery.
ribbon cutting that you'll get a short notice on.
Yeah, for the new game room at the rec room at the BCC.
All right, look forward to that. Okay, any other committee reports?
No, but question, bring up, just to mention, cleanup day.
Yes, cleanup day is it's recycle day, this Saturday, May 21st, at the Northern Metals Recycling Site, just as it was last year. You can line up on that entrance at the far right, and I believe we will have signs, so follow the signage.
And everybody in the council has to be there except the mayor.
You're there every year.
I know I'm out.
She's going as a dog track down Iowa.
I am not, no. All right.
I'm just teasing.
All right, so we'll move into public hearings before anyone gets into, others. The certification of unpaid charges for snow removal with Mr. Knudsen, and I will go ahead and open the public hearing at 5:10.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In 2008, City Council adopted a sidewalk snow removal ordinance requiring sidewalks to be cleared of snow within 48 hours following the termination of any snow event. If snow is not removed, the city will perform the work or have it removed by a contractor and building owner. From December of 2021 through March of 2022, the city invoiced numerous properties for the work that was completed to clear snow from the sidewalks. To date, there are 18 property owners that have not paid for these services, representing the properties shown in the attachment that's in your packet. All of these properties were sent a notice, again, to notify them of the unpaid charges and of this public hearing tonight to consider certification of the said charges.
All right, is there anyone here to address the public hearing for certification of unpaid charges of snow removal? Seeing no one, does council have any questions? No. All right, can I ask for a motion to close the public hearing?
I move to close the hearing.
Second?
Motion from Mike, second from Robin. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
We are closed at 5:11.
Perfect. With that, I would seek to have council consider Resolution 2229, adopting assessments for sidewalk snow removal.
I'll make that motion, resolution 2229 for assessment for sidewalk snow removal.
I'll second.
Motion from Mike, second from Becky. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board Committee and Consultant Reports, the 2022 first quarter financials. Mr. Ebensteiner.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So here to present the 2022, just the first quarter financials, just a quick update. So within the packet, I did have a financial summary through March of 2022 here. Just to highlight a few items, general fund revenues for 2022 are below budget, which is normal, just with the timing of the first half tax settlement. So we expect those within the next couple weeks. We'll get 70% of the first half, and then we'll get the remainder towards the end of June. The community center revenues have increased 81,000 or 90% year over year as memberships continue to trend upwards of those pre-pandemic levels. So that's great to see. That trend is in the right direction. And then on the golf course side, revenues are up 84,000, about 23% higher year to date than prior year, as course user fees, simulator fees, and food and beverage continue to thrive. At the last, we did review all this info at the Budget and Finance Committee meeting, and we did touch on, Josh did a great job of summarizing on the simulator side, just kind of a snapshot, like here's where we're at. And through mid-April, we have had around just a little bit less than 1,600 hours of simulator rental, which is equated to about 54,000 of revenue directly related to the simulator rental, and then the food and beverage in addition to that, that's directly related was around like 35,000. And then there's additional food and beverage, outside of what we can tie in there. So just a snapshot. That was a really nice, and we'll continue to monitor that. As a reminder, we didn't budget much for simulator revenue for 2022, not knowing where that would come in. So just a great job with Josh and his staff up at the golf course. On the expenditure side, general fund expenditures are lower than budget. Being a quarter through the year. They're right at about 18.8%. Community center expenditures, they are up about 6%, but as some of those memberships have recovered and the programming has increased, also that staff time has increased, as well as also some of the utility rates and fees. Golf expenditures have increased 135,000 year over year, but are also still lower than budget at around 18%. And then, as mentioned, those utility charges. So on the gas side, fuel charges. We'll see those throughout the year as those prices continue to increase. And then on the utility fund side, definitely not much to note there. Water, domestic sewer, and industrial sewer. Tracking under budget on the revenue and expenditure side, consistent with prior years. So with that, overall budget impacts. Revenue and expenditure is definitely consistent with expectations, with some of those additional items that I had noted. So with that, I can take any questions, or there's no real motion on the quarterly update.
All right, thank you. All right, Pebble Creek Fire System Replacement, Mr. Kua.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight, we are discussing the fire replacement system at the Pebble Creek Clubhouse. As you've all been aware, we've been discussing this for probably months at this point. Pebble Creek has a fire system that's put together by brothers, and through a failure of a smoke detector earlier this year, we uncovered that the detector is obsolete and unable to be replaced. So we kind of going through the process of looking at ways to troubleshoot the system, we identified that basically we need to replace the fire panel itself because no new parts can integrate into that fire panel. So we've discussed this with Budget and Finance. golf committee and as well as at executive session here as to how to proceed on funding the project. We did secure two quotes, one from Silent Night Security and the other from Brothers Fire and Security. And it is the staff's recommendation that we would go with the low bid, which is Brothers, and that is the current equipment that is at Pebble Creek and was also recently the fire replacement at the community center last year. So basically for funding this, because it was not a planned expenditure, we'd be looking at drawing it from Pebble Creek's capital improvement fund this year, putting it on the CIP for '23, so then it's reflected for future replacement and would be coming out of the capital fund, which would be appropriate for that facility. So the quotes are attached in the packet, and I would love to answer any questions you have about it. At the end, looking hopefully for authorization to engage Brothers Fire and Security and the fire system replacement in the amount not to exceed $21,000. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, seeing no questions, how does council wish to proceed?
Make a motion to engage Brothers Fire and Security in the amount of not to exceed 21,000.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Administrator and staff reports. Foss Estates Public Improvement Acceptance. Mr. Sanders.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is fairly simple. So about a year ago, we had a 2-lot plat off of Riley Street for Foss Estates. There's actually a house that's being built on that lot right now. It's under a building permit. As part of the developer's agreement, they were required to put some utility infrastructure into the existing street. So part of that developer's agreement is that council needs to accept those as their public improvements and they're within the right of way. And so we're seeking for a motion and a second approving resolution 2022 or 22-28, accepting those public improvements. The city engineer reviewed and approved of the as-built drawing that was submitted, and then Public Works also went out and viewed the site and approved of that as well. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 28, accepting the public improvements for Foss Estates.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Supplemental letter of agreement with SEH for 2022 County Road 53 trunk sanitary, sewer, and water main improvements. Mr. Knutson.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. In front of you, we have an SLA with SCH. We're big on the acronym, so for the construction services for the project number 2 of our big deed direct appropriations bond. Back in April, you guys awarded the bid to R.L. Larson, and with that, now that the project's moving forward, we needed to look at the construction services to protect our interests throughout the construction process. So this was already in our preliminary budgets for this process as we look through. So this has been kind of a placeholder for a few years. And we broke it down purposely, design phase and construction phase, so we didn't get ahead of ourselves. So with the award going out there and the contracts being let, we thought it appropriate now to bring this back and have it in place. So when the construction actually starts, we've got SEH in line, ready to go, and protecting our interests out there. So the details are in the agreement, but the amount of the agreement itself is $474,700, and this is part of the direct appropriation funding that's coming through there. So with that, I will entertain any questions, should you have any.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2230, approving the SLA with SCH for the 2022 road project.
Second?
Motion from Rick, second from Robin. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Approving plans and specs for 2022 street improvements. Mr. Knutson.
Thank you, Mayor. Does anybody need a donut to kind of bring the pace back up here?
Well, I'm a
We're
little
gonna hit that-
nervous because everybody has had a little bit of a nasally issue that has been to that podium, so.
Well, I'm not looking at It's my allergies. I apologize. They're kicking my butt. So, yes. Yes. In front of you, we have the 2022 street improvements projects and looking for authorization to accept those plans and to take the project out for bid. On the docket this year are Rolling Ridge Road, River Street, Bank Street from approximately Oakview east to the cul-de-sac, Commerce Drive and Prosperity Avenue, Sherburne Avenue south from Liberty Lane north to Prosperity Avenue in the business park. All the projects are a full reclaim and pave, and we're also including an alternate project that we called out specifically for the community center, the backside entrance to the community center. With the park amenities that were placed there, we felt it was important to add some additional parking, especially handicap parking that can access direct to the pickleball courts, basketball court, and the splash pad. So that would also include a sidewalk that would run along the front side of those parking stalls and tie into the Bradley Street parking lot. Staff will also be bringing back at a future time this year from the park CIP to connect that sidewalk to the backside of the community center through the park CIP project as we had proposed last fall. So the purpose for doing that was to call that out separately. We're not trying to hide any projects into a street project. We want you guys to be able to see what the project is. We're not sure where our numbers are going to come in at with the bituminous prices and the volatility of some of the market. So we're hopeful that they come in favorable and we could look to execute the entire project. But tonight, like I said, we're looking for movement on Resolution 2232, approving the plans and specs and authorizing us to go out for bid.
So on the community center piece, you said there's a part that we still have to bring back. Would we bid those together, or this would just be bid as part of it separate?
Yeah, this would be bid separately. Typically, the concrete contractors, we have several local ones that we've been very looked on very favorably with them. They've done some good work for us and given us discounts. They'll actually be recognized on some of our sponsorship boards. So we'll reach back out to them to do that on a one-off, but I don't think it's gonna impact the price. If it was paving, we would look differently, but because it's a sidewalk, I believe our local contractors will give us a favorable bid price on that.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2232, approving plans and specs for the 2022 street improvement projects and authorizing staff to seek bids.
I'll second.
Motion from Robin, second from Becky. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Consent agenda, Mr. LaRude.
Mayor and City Council, we have several items on the consent agenda tonight. Hiring and termination report for the Community Center, Police Department, Public Works, Becker Community Center, and Pebble Creek, and a revised list was, I believe, put on the dais before the meeting. The 2022 through 2027 Minnesota DOT Master Contract, actuarial contract with Hildy Incorporated. Job description, title updates as previously described for streets and parks and water wastewater. Job description changes, FLA status updates for the hospitality supervisor, kitchen supervisor at the golf course, and the police lieutenant will move to exempt for FSLA. Personnel policy update, this is the career advancement for reimbursement for school in the field of your training, and also approving the application form. Declaring property surplus and ordering its disposal. Police seize vehicles. It sounds like one will go to auction, two will go to the scrapyard. Temporary liquor license application for Becker Alliance for Freedom Days. Change order number 4 for the new well house, totaling $946.43 for some electrical work. Partial pay request number 8 for the new well house in the amount of $95,020.04. And accepting a donation from the Becker Lions in the amount of $3,500 for Freedom Days fireworks.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Well done on your first job, first time. Thank you. Payment of the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second.
Motion from Robin, second from Becky. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye. Aye. Opposed, carried. Does council have anything else for the betterment of Becker? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion from Mike, second from Robin. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 5:26 PM.